and for this session, we are reviewing a Plat Anna. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that helps out quite a bit, and I really do appreciate it. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what rates look like, see what sort of promos, special events we have going on, all of that good stuff.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
Okay?
Stop the payload.
Let's test these hypotheses.
Sure, so your support partner is a Mercy, you're playing with Devil off tank.
I'll keep you here.
That's a little jump spammy. Okay. Thank you for reviewing your friend. No problem, madam. No problem.
Go. I'll keep you here.
It's a fair number of pre-healing shots that aren't very valid pre-healing shots. Like, those people really aren't missing health. Sure. It's a little better. That's a reasonable pre-healing reload.
You're covered. Healing enhanced.
Activating the barrier. Activating the.
They're not missing health. You don't just heal them 'cause this was your first like 5 shots too. You were just sort of throwing shots at people like maybe they're gonna take damage, maybe they're missing health. I'm not sure you're actually recognizing when people have taken damage. She's convinced it's her aim holding her back. It's not. Like, I mean, it could be part of it, but there's other things there. What? No, 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 no. Oh, do I need to heal? Sure. Okay, cool. I'll heal my Mercy on the right. I'll step to the right myself rather than be in Ash's sightline. I'll step to the right myself to have Planter Box, and I'll heal Mercy. Then maybe I'll heal Farah. Then maybe I'll go to heal Soldier. But there's no way that I'm walking here. I don't want to walk here. I don't want to walk in front of the Planter Box to try to heal. Mercy's totally safe over here. Look at this. Mercy's fine. No one has a sightline on her. She's good. I did not need to expose myself to heal Mercy over here. She's got automatic health again. She's out of line of sight of the enemy. She's good. If anyone needed healing, it was Farah, but Mercy's got Farah. You're just not needed. No, I don't really mean you're not needed, but like, use your Planter Box. Use this. Don't walk in front here and expose yourself.
You're going to be okay.
It's not amazing, it's an aid, but I'll take it. And they're fine. They're in a soldier heal station. They're totally fine. You don't need to heal them. If you want to throw one heal into Hog, that's fine.
You're going to be okay.
You're done. You're done. One heal into Hog was all we could do. Definitely didn't need a second heal into Soldier. Definitely didn't need a third into Soldier. Gonna need a reload, yep.
Watching your back.
We're back to the jump spamming, and we're not turning them into scopes there, okay. Are you gonna rotate right? No, you're gonna go planter, fine.
Heroes never die.
هاخد بالي منك.
Yeah.
Heroes never die.
هاخد بالي منك.
Are we gonna throw a nade over Hog's shoulder and get them? I see the problem. Nice sleep. Good reset. Okay. More offense. That's what we're doing. So you're Anna. That's great. Anna's a fantastic hero. She is. She's a lot of fun. She's got a very flexible kit. She feels like fun. She's got powerful cooldown. She's got a sniper rifle. This pre-healing stuff, like, you like to, I can see it now, you like to heal people. You sometimes heal people even when they're full, and you'd rather hit a reload in a lot of situations than look for an offensive shot. We really weren't finding anything in terms of offensive shots until you got one or two offensive shots up here and then a sleep up here. We really didn't get anything in terms of offensive nades, and your only offensive ability at all was this sleep up here. So this is all of first point. It's been a minute and 40 seconds, and our offensive contribution has been very minimal. We're a support, not a healer. So if we have 7 shots left in our clip and there's no enemies available, yeah, we can hit a reload. That's totally fine. That doesn't bother me if everyone's basically full health and there's no enemies available. But in the first time, that was true. But like over here, no enemies available. What are you talking about? There's enemies up there. There's enemies over here. You can just open an angle real quick and drop a nade on the back of them. We're going to have to we're going to have to contribute to our team getting stuff done with more than just nano and more than just propping them up like, no, 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 don't fall over. We're going to have to look to get a little bit more done. And I don't want to see as much healing full health allies because I want to see a little more hunger to not like 100 to 0 people, but put some damage pressure on them. But let's see how this goes.
Old soldiers are hard to kill.
I don't love the confirmed nanotype thing, but some people do use it. How are you holding her back if you're not in this game? Do you rank report or shame her? No. She just plays to have fun, but she wants to get better at the same time. Okay.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Get back in the fight.
Okay. Sure. Unfortunate. You. Oh.
Go. I keep you
The
here.
battle continues.
Sure.
You're powered up. Get in there.
A little questionable, but ultimately you have enough ults to turn it. Good. I know it's scary. I know she's in danger. She's actually not in danger anymore. She's totally tucked herself in the alley. And even though you can't see the opponents the same way I can, I know that there's not a sight line, not a good sight line from this window to this alley. And you can see that your Sigma is holding this steady and he's rocking. And if he's rocking, there's probably not someone immediately in his face. So like your Sigma is holding this steady, your Sigma is holding this area, which means your Mercy back here is actually totally safe. Should you still throw a heal shot at her? Absolutely. Throw a heal shot at her. No problem with me. Single heal shot, and then maybe you move on to going, do I need to check this? Can I sneakily get a sleep dart over here? Can I sneakily get a nade in here? Do I drop a nade down over here? Like, absolutely. But you do not spend your nade to heal your Mercy, who is actually totally safe right now. Totally safe. And you're not really recognizing, I think you're reacting a little too much to someone's low health and not enough to their actual relative danger that they're in. You can't spend this nade. You need this nade to try to hold these guys back, to try to slow down this team that's valking and pushing into your team now that your team has spent all of its ults. Like, you gotta slow this down, make this more challenging, or put a sleep into this or something, as opposed to spending your nade here, now you don't have it? Ew.
This will help.
Oh, we have a super chat coming in from Adam Nicholas for $9.99 saying, look, everyone, it's a bald nerd. Quick, grab these peanuts and tomatoes so we can throw them at him. And we see 3 tomatoes and 3 peanuts. This super chat sponsored by a certain superior owl-style coach who is better. Nerd or nerd. Thank you, Adam. Thank you. I appreciate the super chat for $9.99. Once again, saying, look, everyone, it's a bald nerd. Quick, grab these peanuts and tomatoes so we can throw them at him. This super chat sponsored by a certain superior owl style coach who is better, nerd. Thank you, Adam. Okay, let's continue with our Anna who doesn't want to get offensive contribution in. Cool. I bet we could hit a sleep over this. I bet a sleep over this to sleep the Sigma or Zarya would actually stop more damage than our healing is right here.
Taking damage.
Ouch. Ouch.
Heal down.
It's happened to everyone, but that one hurts a little.
You're going to live.
Lucia Min's just like the confirm. Mercy Mains too. It's true. It's true. Is that?
You're going to live.
It's almost an offensive nade. I mean, it is an offensive nade. It just needed to be further to the right.
With enemies engaging.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Would sleeping that fight have been worth it if there was a Tracer on the other team? At the time I said it, probably. Because you'd have gotten value from the sleep, and it's the sort of thing where you need to reduce the incoming damage, right? So like, how do I want to put this? You would very much like to have a cooldown to protect yourself from a Tracer. But if you're getting great value out of both of your cooldowns, their team should be crumpling. Let's pretend it's neutral. Let's pretend your team's not in a grab. And let's pretend you're getting amazing value from both of your cooldowns. You're not using them both instantly back to back, but you're getting amazing value out of them staggered. And then okay, Tracer shows up and catches you without cooldowns as a result. Well, hold on. If you're getting amazing value out of your cooldown, shouldn't the other team have folded already? Like, if you're really getting amazing value, the other team should fold, or even if they don't fold, they should, like, huddle, they should withdraw a little, they should try to stabilize, etc., which should put you in a situation where the other team isn't willing to hit a hard dive on you. Maybe Tracer will come bother you alone, but there's not going to be, like, a hard dive on you, or, like, oh, Hammond and Tracer are going in while you're discorded and trying to take you out. Yeah, it would suck to have to fend that off with no cooldowns. On the other hand, is that going to happen if the other team is half health and purple, or they retreated from, their previous taking of space, their previous taking of position because they got purpled and things like that? Like, there is an art to this, whereas a team takes pressure, they're not going to push forward through that pressure. It's sort of like if you're Zarya, how do I put this? If we looked at this from a brawl perspective and you have Reinhardt and Zarya, so let's go Rein, Zarya, Rein, Zarya. If blue team goes first, we'll call it that, and bubble Rein swings, and then do-si-dos their Zarya in front, and their Rein swings through the Zarya bubble, or their Zarya gets good value off of using her bubble over here to put damage in, and then they go, okay, we don't have any bubbles left. Oh, this team is vulnerable to being run over now. Yeah, they're being vulnerable to being run over because red team has both of their bubbles left, and blue team doesn't have either. Not really. Not if they actually got swings off during the bubble, got damage off during the bubble. Like, red team is having to recover, having to do stuff. The Zarya now has more energy. And you can sort of think of it the same way as long as you're actually getting good value out of it with some of your abilities. We're like, yes, you'd like to have one to protect yourself in a lot of situations. Yes, it's good. But it's not... How do I put this? But if you truly see a great opportunity, like, oh wait, there's a McCree high nooning. the only cooldown I have is sleep. Yes, of course I'm going to sleep him. If that means a tracer shows up, so be it. You can sort of think of it the same way in the neutral, and you can sort of think of it the same way here, where it's like, okay, if I don't reduce the incoming damage, I'm going to lose my Mercy and my Hog. So I have to do this, because if I don't do this, there's a possibility of a tracer showing up and stopping me, but the likelihood of me losing these guys is quite simply greater. And also, so that's the sort of thing where if you're getting enough value, if you're getting enough good value out of the cooldown, usually the other team isn't going to be in a good enough situation to take you down. It's not quite that simple. Yes, if a tracer sees you use both cooldowns in a row, she'll just appear and take you out. Yes, there are things like that. Yes, there are times where you go, aha, I do this, and you just slept a tank, and then a tracer shows up and takes you down, and that's perhaps not good enough value in a normal situation. But in this sort of situation, yeah, that's worth. This is Nerd Babble. Go buy a heater. Thanks, Adam. Thank you.
The payload has reached
There's some offensive shots. Not quite sure what that nade was.
Go. I'll keep you here.
Where are we playing from? Are we playing from here? Are we? Is this where we're going to play from? Is this where we're going to play from? Are we going to play from here? Where are we playing from? We're not going to play from in our Reinhardt's pocket, that's for sure. Did not want that nade at all. Look for the sleep, look for the sleep. Almost. Drift left or right. Right's fine. Unfortunate. Ooh boy, oh boy. You're pushing a McCree without your sleep?
You're powered up. Get in there.
So here you are. I really don't know that I'm willing to walk into this McCree. Oh, did you see him spend his flash? Let me actually look at that again. He must have just spent it. Oh, you saw or heard that. Okay, so that's why you're willing to walk into him. Okay. Who's this for? Is this to try to heal your sim? Is this to go deep? This certainly isn't hitting any enemies. It's not getting a big enough grip. I don't like this nade.
You're powered up. Get in there.
And then you're nanoing a hog that's retreating, that's taking a breather. He wasn't actually in that much danger. Remember, he takes half damage when he's using take a breather, and he can't go use your nano for anything productive while he's doing take a breather. He's locked into this take a breather. So, and he's retreating from the fight. So, like, we want to nano people who are in the fight, who are going further into the fight. We don't want to nano people who are backing out in most times. Sometimes we'll nano someone who's being dove, something like that, who's being pushed by another tank, but that's because the diver, the tank, whatever, is on top of them, so they're going to get to fight them easily. No one's really going to be able to stay on hog, and no one's going to choose to stay on hog while he's doing this nano to take a breather, because of course there's going to be a nano hog to fight once that's over, and he's retreating. Like, no, this isn't good.
Watching your back. Light.
Sure. Now please drift yourself in here, please.
Thank you.
She has a bad McCree chase? No, she just panics? Okay.
Get back in the fight.
I mean, yeah, chasing him still didn't really make sense,
This
but...
will help. Reality bends to my will. I will keep
Okay.
you healed. It's just a scratch. You'll be fine.
Огонь по готовности.
The pain.
Okay. This is over. Leave. Be ready to sleep him. If I chase a McCree, I get 2 tapped, and they call me a bot in chat. I mean, chasing McCree there would not have been correct. Chasing McCree there could have potentially been correct if you say, hey, I landed the shot in the melee, and I'm going to chase him because he doesn't have flash, and I have sleep. Like, that could be the situation. And it was in a narrow hallway where it's pretty easy to hit your sleep. But that was not the case. We have a clip of that, actually. What's this nade for?
Get healed.
Your full health tanks? The barrier that, exists and is going to block it? What's the nade for?
The payload is approaching its destination.
Okay. Offensive contribution in general is low, and that's holding you back. You're playing too much healer, not enough support. Like, really, that's a thing. I obviously really didn't like that nano on Hog. Your positioning could use a bit of work, and your nades in general, you're too willing to use them to heal, you're too willing to use them on targets. I think there's a little bit of a not quite understanding that someone being low health doesn't mean they're actually in danger. Or someone at, for example, if a tank in front of you is at, let's say, 50% health, and the enemy team is here, and you have and there's a wall like this, and you have a Mercy over here at 20% health, this person is in more danger. Even if they're at 80% health, they're probably in more danger. So this is where the heal would go. Or this person just isn't in very much danger at all, and you could even justify an offensive shot. Now, I'd go for a heal shot, but I certainly wouldn't justify a nade. But again, so there's that, but there's the nades more generally. I would like to see more offensive nade value. If we're using nades to heal, they better be healing multiple people type thing. We better be getting some AoE heal to save us time, not just, oh, I'm healing because I desperately feel the need to get another heal out there. Like, no, that's not what's happening. And that's okay. Like, I pointed out a lot of things. Don't feel overwhelmed. Don't feel like, oh my god, Temporal's giving me a million things to work on. I'm not actually going to give you this many things to work on. It's probably going to hone in on your offensive contributions. And also don't feel like, oh my goodness, I'm garbage because Temporal is telling me all these things to work on. Trust me, I could pick just as many holes in any other player in this lobby's gameplay. Just as many. So it's perfectly fine. But yeah, we are going to continue to watch this, see the next round, see what become the biggest issues that really need the most focus. Continuing through here. Oh, the aim's not a problem. It's not aim, it is offensive contribution. That is the biggest thing that is holding this Ana back. There might be some nade aim issues, but there's not a weapon play aim issue for this level.
Be sure to stretch before engaging in rigorous physical activity.
It's so frustrating to do the danger healing and low elos because no one values their life when critical health and don't take cover. It hurts my soul. Sure, and that sucks, but we've seen some stuff where people like Mercy especially are actually already behind cover, and she's going out of her way or putting her own life in danger at one point to go heal them when the Mercy's fine type thing. Like, they're already fully tucked behind cover and they're not coming out from it.
One.
I mean, sometimes you do gotta break the rules, but that's easiest to do if you understand why the rules are there in the first place. And you'll notice sometimes I'm very clear when I'm saying something that it's a rule of thumb, not an ironclad rule.
Watching your back.
Wait, did Temporal just call the Plat's garbage? I'm not quite sure that's what I did, blah. So you don't really need to be here right now. This is a thing. Cool. Yeah, we can heal. Can we heal with cover? Can we heal with cover? Can we be in this situation where we have cover available to us, or do we have to be here in the middle of the lane where if, say, this Echo starts shooting us, we just go, ah! And we run around like our head's been chopped off and go, where do we go? Where do we go? Because nothing's cover. Like, no, 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 no. If we're here, we have cover already. Playing in the middle of the lane. That nade wasn't really necessary.
Help me. Focus with me. Get back.
Sure. Heal Zarya. Swap Sigma. Yep. So, like... Yeah, I guess I can live with that nade you just missed. You need to understand where it's a projectile. Your nade is a projectile, just like your hipfire shots are a projectile, but it's a more noticeably projectile. So you do want to think about where Sigma's going. You do want to think Sigma's retreating, so I'm not going to throw it in front of him, I'm going to throw it behind him. You do have the other option of throwing this nade offensively to try to scare this other team, perhaps get multiple targets and reduce the incoming damage, but the defensive nade on Sigma was perfectly fine as long as you hit it, because it's going to let you basically build nano.
Barrier won't hold together.
I don't know that I'm willing to walk forward in this. So you're going to self-nade like yesterday? Good.
Never die.
Cover. I like it. Cover. I like it less. Lack of cover. That echo? Really? I don't know about that sleep. That just wasn't high enough probability.
Just a scratch. You'll be fine.
Speaking of people not in danger. Yes, your Mercy took damage. That sucks. Your Mercy is also Valking, has increased health regeneration, and can move however she wants. And is quite far away. Like, she's... Who on the enemy team can hit your Mercy here? Maybe. Maybe Face can hit your Mercy, but no. No, he can't. Like, you really do not need to be focused on Mercy right now. Even though I know it looks like she's low health, she's quite comfortable up here. She has increased health regeneration, she's got very unpredictable movement, she's playing in the skybox where there's fall-off damage issues for anyone and range issues, even for the people that can reach. She is quite comfortable right now, so let's instead look for something else to do. Your Sigma's in more danger than your Mercy. He is. Or... you could even go, nah, I still want to hit their Sigma. He's still flying. I'd like to put a damage shot there. If I hit a damage shot and my Sigma hits a damage shot, he's gone, type thing. Like, that's pretty interesting.
Just a scratch. You'll be fine. Healed up.
Oh, well, love it. Okay. Good. Don't do it. There's nothing to be had here. Well, if Tracer's teaming up. Too slow.
Get healed.
Barrier is about to break. My barrier is destroyed.
Middle of the lane? Please no. Please no. Please find cover. Please play on one side of the lane where we have a cover option.
You're powered up. Get in there.
Out of existence.
Adaptive circuit engaged.
You can self-nade. Self-nade and get the Sigma. Good. You didn't have to wander into the lane like this. You did not have to wander into the lane. What I mean by the lane is this here. This is a lane. This is outside of the lane. And you can be like, oh, I can nade the ground, or I can nade the wall and get Sigma and myself both healed while still being outside of the lane. And if I'm feeling spicy, I can slip up here and take an offensive shot, shoot asleep, whatever, and then go back here. Or you could have been playing back here doing your work earlier. This would be another place where, like, this is the middle of the lane, this is cover, because you take one step and you're safe. We have a super chat coming in from Anton Paris saying $2 pizza delivery for... okay. Yes. Thank you, Anton Paris, for the $2 super chat. Okay, let's go ahead and continue here. Maybe a map guide for Rialto soon? Maybe. We've got a lot of map guide requests. I love to see it. And we saw a nice little sub jump off the map guides as well.
Introducing personality module.
Not like we picked up, 100 subs or anything off of it, but probably
Come back from work.
double digits, low double digits for the map guides.
In motion. Where is the payload at rest?
Sorry, Futurama pilot episode reference. I know. I'm not worried about it, Anton. It didn't bother me for you to put that there.
It's just a scratch. You'll be fine.
And then we have a super chat for 199 coming in from Adam Nicholas saying, "Hey Temporal, Mike Hawk wanted to say hi." Thank you, Adam, for that super chat for 199 saying, "Hey Temporal, Mike Hawk wanted to say hi." Okay.
Heroes never die.
Okay. Offensive contribution. If you had health, I'd like it.
Need healing.
You want Rialto too, Val? Tell us about the pathing since most people only walk down main. I know, Adam. I know. You're going to clip it.
Need healing. Shukran. Healing in hand. Healing in hand.
No sleep attempt? Yeah, that sleep attempt was going to probably save more people. Like, this was over if this went off. So this is the situation where, again, you can't heal your way out of this. You can't really heal your way out of this. This fight might already be lost. Like, this fight is potentially already lost. It's a bad situation. Your people have been lifted. If this slam happens, you're going to lose. If this slam happens from the flux, you are going to lose. So your solution to this is not, oh, let me try to heal my way out of it. Maybe you go, hey, I want to hit one quick healer on Mercy because she's going to get eliminated too quickly if I don't. So one heal, then sleep dart. Sleep dart. Maybe that's your play, but you have to go for the sleep here. You are not going to be able to heal these guys, as I draw my blue arrow in the blue sky, out of this situation. Your team is going to lose if you don't hit the sleep right here. So there's no pressure on you to hit the sleep, and I really mean that, because your team has already lost this fight if you don't hit this sleep. Your team has potentially already lost this fight even if you do hit this sleep, but this fight is just gone if you if you don't hit the sleep here. So like, this stuff doesn't matter. They're going to get eliminated if you don't hit the sleep. I'm not saying that the like slam is necessary. You can potentially heal them to the point where the slam doesn't eliminate them, but you're going to be too far behind in this fight. So you need the sleep is the only chance of turning it. Do that. Prioritize what actually has the chance to turn the fight, not, oh, I'll keep my team in it for a tiny bit longer. Like, oh, people are missing health, so I have to heal. No, you don't. Zergling Dance says, I miss HLC. Okay. Was your favorite 2CP map? It did have space. Second point was okay, in my mind, on Horizon Lunar Colony. First point was a little bleh. Not to be confused with a little blah. But second point had some charm to it, I'll say. Yes, the high ground push and how it had to be defended was a little annoying, but it had some charm to it. Why are you nading? You need to reset yesterday. You like the height differences? You love first? Okay. Oh, Sonic never got to play HLC in comp. Okay.
I'll rest when the fighting is done.
I've been winning more Control Center games after watching the guide. Linked it to other people too. Oh, nice! Very cool, Val. A, thank you for linking it. I really like it when people share out content like that. And B, I'm glad it's been helping.
You're powered up. Get in there.
For those that don't know what they're talking about, we did release 2 map guides this weekend, one for Havana and one for Lijiang Tower. I recommend you guys check them out if you haven't already. We go pretty in depth into what the lanes look like, how the lanes matter, positions that aren't utilized commonly enough that are pretty darn powerful, what sort of works they get against what comps, what the standard comps are. And this isn't like the comp has to be perfect. You have to play it exactly how the pros do, but this is very applicable to ladder. Okay, Sticky's hurt, and this is junk time. Okay, so as we get into it on our Ana here, things that I would really talk about, the first thing I would talk about for your Ana would be you gotta play into the offense. You have to do more for the offense of your team. That doesn't mean that like, oh, you have to go 50-50 on damage shots versus heal shots or anything like that, but the primary tool that you're going to have for contributing to your offense is going to be using one of these cooldowns. You can go, hey, I'm going to use nades offensively. That's a good one. I recommend that. I'm looking to use nades offensively rather than defensively. That doesn't mean you can't ever use a defensive nade. You can absolutely use your nade to heal yourself. You can absolutely use your nade on, say your tank line is just getting crushed and you're going, I'm trying to nade my tank line to save them and to get the tank that's pushing into them turned purple. You can do those things, but we need some offensive contribution. I'd like that to start in the form of our ability usage. Look for some more offensive nades. Don't nade people that are out of line of sight and safe. Don't nade people that you could have perfectly fine just saved with shots. Please don't use your nade for that. But we're looking for more offensive contribution. That's going to start in the form of nades and then sleeps when they make sense. When, hey, sleeps can turn fights better than heals sometimes, like when your team is in a grab, like when there's a flux going on, like when there's a high noon going on, that sort of thing. Better than trying to heal through it is to sleep the threat or to break the incoming damage with a sleep. It's important. You're going to have to do more for the offense. You cannot just keep applying band-aids to your team and hoping that your team will win. Healing is not enough for supports in this game. It's not enough for any of the supports in this game. Okay. So we really want you to get that. The other piece of your offensive contribution is going to be willingness to take offensive shots. If everyone's full health, take an offensive shot. If most people have 80% or more health, probably just find a work in an offensive shot. Do not be like hard locked on I have to heal people all the time. Yes, you're going to do more healing than you're going to do damage. Yes, you are, as a support, a big piece of your role is healing. But it's going to have to be the offensive contribution. And I'm going to make this like a big point. I've got a couple sub points under it. Again, tied to I want you to specifically look for offensive nades. I want you to think about using your sleep to stop incoming threats when it's just too much for you to heal through. And I want you to recognize when stuff is too much for you to heal through. And I don't want you just being like, oh, let me spam heals down to 7, even healing people that aren't missing health when I could take offensive shots and then reload. I don't mind if you reload after pre-healing, but if there's offensive shots to take, I'd rather you take offensive shots. Your order of priority for Ana would be like, yes, heal shots are nice. Damage shots are still good. And then reload. We don't go, oh, well, there's no heal shot to take, so I'll reload. Or, oh, there's no heal shot to take, so I'll just shoot heal darts at full health people. No, if there's a damage shot to take your damage shot. Take your damage shot. It puts pressure on the enemy team. It makes it easier. It's hard for most heroes to 100 to 0 or 200 to 0 someone, but if they get even a little bit of help, you do 60 damage to it, anything like that, it becomes way easier for most heroes to use their combination of abilities, use their aim, etc., to take people down. That works way better for them. So the big focus is going to be lean into your offense, and the way to do that, the 2 ways I'm going to want you to focus on doing that, are look for more offensive nades, and look for shots when your team is healthy. Those are the ways that I'm going to want you to start with contributing more to your offense as an Ana, because you're going to have to if you want to win games. That's what we want. Look for offensive nades and do that. In that same category of contributing more to the offense, now I'll make it its own category. The second thing I'm going to say is properly recognize that low health people aren't necessarily the ones who need heals the most. Recognize actual danger levels and let danger levels figure out when you heal versus when you don't, who you heal. The threat level that your teammates are in should determine whether or not they get a heal, not just their health level. Their health level is a factor in how much threat they're in. If someone's at 500 HP, they are in less danger than someone who is at 80 HP. Absolutely. But the sight lines of the enemies absolutely matter. The cooldowns of the person who's fighting the person also matters. So you need to have a more holistic approach to this, but your healing should be based on threat level, not amount of health that they have left, or not percentage health that they have left. And then the third thing I'm going to tell you is I would really like you to stop playing in the middle of the lane. Please use your cover. Please use your cover. We could get more advanced and say this sort of cover is better, where you can go, I'm healing down main, I'm healing down main, cute little off angle to hit a sleep through, that sort of thing. I'm healing down main, I'm healing down main, walk over here, hit a sleep dart, whatever. That sort of thing we could talk about, hit a nade, whatever, but I'm not too worried about it. But what's holding you back is not your weapon play aim. It's not. Your nades could use a little work, but it's not your weapon play aim. It is that you are not contributing to your team winning fights. You're just sort of trying to prop them up long enough, hoping that they'll win, and you're not even prioritizing correctly who's actually in the most danger there. And then you were a little too vulnerable to be taken down because of where you're standing. But get that offensive contribution in. Start with nade contribution and the damage shots where you can fit them in. Start with that. You don't have to be like, I hit 5 damage shots in a row. You're basically never going to do that. But even just 1 or 2 damage shots in a fight make a difference. You had like 1 or 2 fights that you had damage shots in. I'd be okay if you just got 1 to 2 damage shots in per fight. That would be a big deal. Okay, I hope those all make sense. I want you to work through those 3 topics, 1 topic at a time, with 5 to 15% of your brain power, and I promise the big topic is your offensive contribution. That's the one that's going to be hardest for you to get, but also going to make the biggest difference there. If you or anyone else have questions, you can throw them up in chat now. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that helps out quite a bit, and I really do appreciate it. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below. See what rates look like, see what sort of promos, special events we have going on, all of that good stuff. Okay. Zergling Dance says, I will miss 2CP in Overwatch 2. Yeah, Zergling Dance, I agree that 2CP, at least certain maps, Volskaya is actually not like my favorite map overall, but a map that I like. I agree. Certain maps from 2CP being missing will be disappointing. On the other hand, the fact that they had to just flat out remove 2 of the 2CP maps from rotation and have had them removed basically forever is probably not a good sign for it. And the reality is Hanamura probably should be removed as well. It's not good. It's not good. What was I saying there? Words. Yeah, so it'll be a bit of a shame, but the reality is I only ever really found 2CP that interesting in organized play. It doesn't work very well in ladder play, where it just gets snowbally and where people aren't organized enough, but that's okay. Only one I care about is the eventual Gibraltar guide. Okay, Adam. Okay, please release it and describe mana positioning. Thanks, nerd. I mean, I've covered Gibraltar years ago, but that's okay. What if you could copy Echo? What if you could copy Echo and get a double copy? Oh, so you go like you copy Echo and you just turn into a duplicate? Do you do double damage during that? Do you have like a shadow standing to your left during that? So when you left click and point at things and send your tri shot, that duplicate also does from a one body to your left, but still aimed at the same point? That could be fun. And then if you charge, and then that Echo charges their ult super fast, so they can duplicate the Echo again and get a third and a fourth. And okay, let's not go wild. The 24-hour blue block stream is coming. I don't know about that one. In a moving fight, what is more of a priority? Cover against the enemy or rotating to stay with the team? You rotate to stay with the team, but if the fight is moving, the enemy should be under pressure. You don't want to just move whatever. You want to move when the enemies are under pressure. Maybe the sightline isn't closed, but there's a Reinhardt or a Winston or a Tracer in the face. Or maybe their sightline is closed because they've already been shooed out. So, like, I would say cover against the enemy, but you can't run it to an extreme. You really can't run it to an extreme in that direction. And you have to prep to be able to rotate across the open space, so you might have to do some pre-rotating to be able to do it when it is open to rotate across. I'd probably say cover since Xana's range. I mean, yes, except that people go around corners on you. If there's a flanker around, then maybe stay closer to your team or be sure to hit sleep. Having a cooldown for them, especially at this level, can be useful. As you get higher, you start doing what I talked about before, which is, hey, if you can guarantee value out of your cooldowns, it starts mattering a lot less whether you have one available. I'm curious what Temporal's take is. I think I answered, and Fartsy said both, and that's basically where my answer gets to too. Like, it's not really a trade that you can't have. You make your rotations happen when the enemies are tied up. You make your rotations happen that are short rotations across openings. You prepare to move across. You understand how the fight is. You don't use premonition, but you can see how the fight is taking place, and you understand where the fight is going to move to based on what's happening, and you start adjusting your positioning. It's doable. Adam says, I think she'll appreciate this review. Thank you, Temporal. This is my 4th referral to you. Now praise me. Thank you, Adam. I appreciate business referrals. Those are good. Thank you. Val says, Tales of Arise, what is the correct weight transfer technique while fighting in heels? Kick off the heels. I mean, the real answer is kick off the heels. If you're fighting in heels, you kick off the heels. Let's be serious. Like, it's too limiting on movement to be in heels. Cager did a Gibraltar guide pretty good. He did do a Gibraltar guide. Yep. Cager uses a lot of clips of Spilo, so Spilo did a good Gibraltar guide. I actually think he probably used more clips of me that time than he did on Spilo. It's okay. I mean, I don't mind using clips of me. Using clips of me is good for business in some ways, though it's a little annoying that it's all Brawl stuff when, like, yes, I coached a college team because they wanted to know how to play Brawl on Gibraltar, a college team that I did some freelance coaching for, and I did coach them on how to do Brawl on Gibraltar, but I don't recommend it. Like, I don't recommend Brawl on Gibraltar, so I kind of got the bad parts to cover in that guide because the stuff was taken from that video, which is like, I hope no one actually thinks I'm advocating doing Brawl on Gibraltar, but if you're going to, the options are clear high ground or do what he calls tunneling, and the thing is, like, I did it for the team, and I did it, like, if you give me a bad strategy, I can still optimize a bad strategy. Running Brawl is wrong in most situations on Gibraltar. And if you are going to run it, you're generally better off clearing high ground and then pushing the cart. But, again, I can optimize a bad strategy. I can optimize around pushing the cart, rotating back into cover, pushing the cart, rotating back into cover. I can't optimize around that. I got the bad parts. Oh, well, not a big deal. Other than stuff, it's funny. Cager should be the best of Spilo. I mean, what Cager does though is he goes and gets good content from other people. Like, I don't really mind that. He's aggregating stuff. He started to work himself in there more, but until now, a lot of his work has been he aggregates stuff from people like Spilo, myself, Nader, Hayes, things like that, Jane, whatever, and that's fine. If he goes and wants to, like, try to collect together the best stuff and that wants to be his spin on content, that doesn't really bother me. Now that he sources his material anyways. It was a little more when he wasn't sourcing or mentioning where it came from, but he does that now, and he's updated his guides to do that, so good stuff. Good synthesizer of media. Yep. He's a console, so I'm not sure most of what he says applies. Well, what he says or what he's bringing to the table? Because what he's bringing to the table when he's synthesizing stuff is coming from pretty solid sources. Temporal, are there any techniques where heals give an advantage? Sure. Kicking someone in the face with a heal, that's not only does that hurt, that's, like, incredibly dangerous. Like, That's the sort of thing where the actual heal, it's basically a short spike that you're working with there. So yeah, there are some like kicks where it's like, hey, that's what are you doing? You can't really practice those though because it's just too dangerous. And again, the mobility limitations you get make it not worth it. Did you say Brawl on Gibraltar? Unhappy face? Yes, Artsy. Yes, Artsy. I was not a fan with it, but you have to remember, especially in the collegiate scene, where a lot of these teams are only practicing like 2 scrims a week, 3 scrims a week, things like that. They may only feel like they have time to get pretty good at one composition. So even when they go to a map like Gibraltar, which just is the ultimate no, you aren't allowed to run Brawl map, they might go, well, how do we force it? Because they don't feel like they've had time, this would have been last season, to learn Double Bubble. And that's fair. Double Bubble was fairly complicated to run compared to Brawl at a basic level. They can both get quite advanced. But if you feel like, hey, we're going to learn Brawl, we're going to put all of our practice time into Brawl, and then we're just going to mostly mulligan this one bad map, that's not the worst time and the worst decision in the world if you have limited training time. Obviously, I expect your program probably scrims more often than the team that hired me for a couple hours of coaching there. That's where the people in ranked get it from. uh, Val wants a brawl in heels on Gibraltar. Okay, okay. Ryan, Orisa, May, Junk, Moira, Lucio on Gibraltar. Please no. Please no. Oh, hey, Crunch. Power napped, got up, temporal stream, and my computer monitor is rotated 90 degrees. WTF did I do before I fell asleep? I don't know, Crunch. I don't know. I'm so happy I graduated, so now I can play 8 hours a day after work. Okay, Anton. Artsy says, yeah, we do 3 scrims a week. Yep, that's about where I would have expected you guys to be. Yeah, so you guys get a little more practice, and I also wouldn't be shocked if you guys have some of your players, or maybe all of your players, that are potentially getting practice on other teams as well. I know we have players that they play with the team, of course, Northeastern, but then they break off and go play with Tier 3 or Trials teams, whatever, and I wouldn't be surprised if you have players doing the same. I don't know if Petal, for example, is currently on a contenders team. I just haven't looked, but I wouldn't be surprised if you guys have something like that going on where some of your players are getting even more practice than that, so you can get a little more advanced with your strats versus a team that is, hey, you might be looking at a Masters team that goes and hires me to do some coaching, or a low GM team that hires me to do some coaching for them, and they're doing 2 days a week, and they want to go ahead and make their comp work, or and they've put the most practice into Brawl. Or you could get the flip side where, hey, they want to figure out how to run a Zen Ball comp on King's Row, and it's like, oh, you want to run Zen Ball on King's Row second? Okay, let's try, and here's how we do it, and I'll explain it. I'll optimize the strat for a team. That doesn't mean it's the best strat in the world, but it might be the optimal use of their practice time if that's what they're running everywhere else, as an example. But we only double bubble on 1 or 2 maps. Yeah, yeah. We probably should play on other teams, but I think that Petal is the only one doing that. Lol. That's fine, Artsy. I mean, you all have to figure out what works, and the reality is the more players that you have playing on other teams, the harder it gets to schedule your own scrims. Like, we have stuff where we're doing the 6 to 8 scrim block, and we're doing the 10 to 12 scrim blocks. I don't think we're doing any 8 to 10 scrim blocks most weeks right now because people are on other teams. But that makes it hard because you can't always guarantee that you can find a 6 to 8. 6 to 8s are hard, 10 to 12s are a little less hard, but it does. I find it's net worth it for a team to have their players go out and do stuff if they have time in their college schedule to go do that. But it does, while it levels up those players and makes your team better from leveling up those players, it does still have some drawback to it. There is a cost, and there is a opportunity cost to it, we'll just say. Okay, have you ever considered doing a lengthy discussion on whether Eloho exists, like the Genji meta video? I mean, it could be good for clicks. It's not really that interesting of a topic to me, truth be told. It's been done so many times. And the real answer is it mostly doesn't exist. Like, I could get into something that's like, oh, I can make it a little clickbaity, and I could talk about, like, well, what does exist is there's certain points on the ladder that are, people are a little more tilted, or, they're a little more challenging than other parts of the ladder to get through, or things where, hey, the skills that you use are maybe a little different on this part of the ladder than that part of the ladder. But a true, like, oh, Elo Hill's real and Elo Hill's what's keeping people back, not really. And I'm mostly not really, no. I was late. Are there more VODs today? Not for a bit, Carolina. I'll it's possible that the one I do this evening will be streamed. I've got a couple this evening, but I've got scrims coming up to deal with, and then something that'll be off air. I might have one that I can do on air this evening. When is someone good enough to play in contendies? Well, you're good enough to play in contendies when you force your way into contendies by doing well in open division, doing well in trials, and forcing your way into contendies on a team, or when you, in tier 3 or trials or whatever, do well enough that people notice you in a contenders team that has an opening, maybe because one of their players gets poached, whatever, maybe because they did poorly but are still in contenders and go, we want to rebuild the team, we want to do a shuffle, whatever. It goes, well, we want to try some new talent, this player looks good enough. Like, you're good enough either when you can force your way in yourself by winning your way up there, or when you can, in a very similar way, maybe you don't quite make it up there on your team, but you looked like one of the better players on your teams, and one of the teams that is there goes, yeah, let's give that player a shot. It's not a strict SR thing, though. If you're really talking about it, you're not likely to find your way into a contenders team if you can't, like, people who can't get to at least 4-4 aren't going to find themselves on contenders teams very often unless they have a long history of organized play on contenders, etc. Haven't you covered an Elo Hell video? Not video, but a Reddit post? I probably have, yeah. Maybe it was something specific, but I vaguely remember you mentioning things like the people who are nearly out of bronze just got out or more toxic because they don't want to fall back in. I don't know if that was a full video on the topic, but probably. The team refuses to group up. Should Brig still rally if only one or two people get the armor? Potentially, because people don't have to group up. Like, what can happen is Zen Ball would be a good example of this. Let's say you're running a Zen Brig. Let's even give you a Sigma, and then you also have a Ball over here and a Tracer over here, and maybe, what have we done here? Let's throw an Echo over here. This is just made up, obviously. And the enemies are here. Okay. If you rally, if your dive is adequately staged, cool. You could rally right now and run in, and that's totally fine. And it's totally fine that these are the only 3 that are going to initially get armor. Now, the reality is when the play actually happens, these guys are going to go in, and they're probably going to get armor too, but I don't really care if they don't. I don't really care if Ball is too far behind and doesn't get it, if Tracer doesn't get it, if Echo's, at an angle and doesn't really get it. It doesn't really bother me. But if you go, hey, this is appropriate, this can be perfectly appropriate. Like, some comps, they're not going to pre-group for you. They're going to group in the form of the dive. Or even if we go, hey, we're doing this, and let's actually make this harder, and let's replace this Tracer with a... So now we have Echo plus Ash. And Ash isn't really, and now we probably don't have Zen, we probably have Mercy at this point. No, we wouldn't have, no, because then I have to keep the Brig. Let's pretend we kept this. This wouldn't usually be a comp that you'd see run, but let's pretend that you did this. You can still run in with your rally as long as you're not playing against a brawl comp. As long as you're playing against a comp that rally on these 3 makes your brawl power stronger than these guys. So if these guys are running their own Zen Ball comp, your backline can still win this fight with rally. That's perfectly fine. you can potentially still rally even in a situation where they are brawling you to make you more resistant. Let's say they're running a 6-man, a talent dive at you, so like a Winston Moira Diva comp with, let's say Lucio, and then we'll give it Tracer Reaper, whatever, and they dive you, and you have your rally going to harden this backline while these guys try to pick them apart as this team is sort of trying to survive the brawl as best it can. So yeah, remember, you don't have to all 6 be stacked together to get value out of rally. I don't know, Crunch. Got it. We'll watch offline. Sounds good. How much do you have to play to be in a contenders team? I've done a full video on what's it take in terms of how much coaching happens in contenders, how much playing happens in contenders. I have a video on that. It may or may not be in my Ask Temporal playlist, but if you search contenders on my channel, you'll probably find it. But what you're going to see is that you are looking at, for most contenders teams, you're going to be looking at 6 days a week double blocks. So you're going to be looking at, let's see, 2 hours per block, 2 blocks a week. So that's going to be a good 24 hours just in scrims. And then you're going to have some potentially one-on-one coaching that you're thinking about. You're also going to have some team VOD reviews, maybe twice a week, maybe more, maybe less, whatever. And then you're also going to have individual play, because contenders players are absolutely expected to keep grinding on the ladder. They are. There's been times in Overwatch's history where it's been like, oh no, you're scrimming, that's enough, ladder is toxic, ladder doesn't really help you. No, ladder is the gym. You are expected to keep grinding on ladder. You will get worse. Like, you can come in be one of the better players, and by the end of the season, you'll likely be one of the worst players if you just stop laddering. It's unfortunate reality. Probably not, Antis. Hi, I'm A11. Yeah, just rip off A10's name there. Contenders teams are hungrily waiting for Symmetramain to reach the top 500 leaderboards? Probably not. Carolina says, oh, by the way, I noticed many people are toxic on EU server. Do you recommend leaving voice chat in that case or growing a thick skin? I don't mind people not being in voice chat. Like, if people go, hey, I again treat the ladder as the gym. It's what you do as your individual workout to get better at Overwatch. It's part of it anyway. And it's totally fine with me if people aren't in voice chat for that. Like, it's not about, oh, we have to have the maximum individual chance of winning every single game. No, you're playing to get better. And the damage, how quickly and how much damage people can do, even when you don't think they're doing damage, even when you don't think that you're tilted, the amount of damage people can do in voice to your psyche and basically really cut the value that you're getting out of your play session is huge, and it frequently goes unnoticed while still doing damage. I would say if you have any desire to not be in voice chat, don't be in voice chat. And you don't have to wait for something bad to happen. You can just choose to not be in voice chat when you queue in the first place. That's perfectly fine. Usually the first big piece of damage has been done by the time you choose to leave, and at that point you'd really have to more take a break to undo it rather than just, oh, let me mute people, etc. So I'm perfectly fine with people not being in voice chat. On ladder, organized play, totally different. And as you get higher, voice chat does get a little bit better, but it's never going to be perfect. And there are regions where it's a little better too. Why do some L teams rally when a fight hasn't even started? Then the other team just pokes out the armor. Sometimes the clock doesn't allow poking out the armor to be a thing. Sometimes they need to pre-rally a little bit because they know that they need a little bit of armor to generate before something like an EMP hits, before something like a grav combo hits. Sometimes they need the armor to have actually stacked a little bit before the fight starts in order for it to work. And usually they think they can force the fight, or based on the clock, based on the terrain, based on positioning when they do that. So they're not actually planning to waste all of rally and just let it be poked out. They think they can force the fight. Anton says, I remember when A10 did URTO GM, unranked to GM, he had to mute EU chat when yeah, it's not surprising. Jimmy says, so I'm in Elo hell because my teammates suck. How can I make a comp with lower healing like Brig Zen work when my teammates are feeding? Mostly kidding, but 10% not kidding. Brig Zen is a fine comp, but the problem that you run into is most teams are going to be terrified of it, and they're going to tilt at low elos. Like, they're going to see that, they're going to think it's too low healing, and they're going to tilt because they see it's low healing, and so they're not going to play well. So the reality is you usually won't field that in low SRs if you're one of the supports, not because it's a bad comp, it's a perfectly valid comp, but your team isn't going to recognize its win conditions and play fast enough. Because if you're playing that Zen Brig, your team needs to effectively not be taking damage that they shouldn't take. Your team needs to be getting its poke advantage with Zen in some matchups, or it needs to be using the fact that, hey, we have Harmony Orb to play with, we have Repair Packs to play with, we have Discord Orb to play with, to like go heavily win lanes, go heavily win flank lanes, things like that, and they're just not going to understand it. They're also not going to understand how to explosively go fast enough because their healing is low when it's go time. Is A10 secretly an A10 War Dog? Maybe, maybe. I can't tell you guys. I can't tell you guys that. I mean, former teammate there. I can't go reveal the secrets. Part of games is they're meant to be enjoyable. Might as well just leave chat and enjoy yourself. Damage, true. Happened recently, and I do overthink it, even if I shouldn't. Blah asked Temporal, is it okay to use Rally to get out of spawn faster to contest the payload? Is it better to use than... Is it better to use Rally for that than Valk? Oh, no, it would be slightly better to use Valk for that than Rally, but neither of them are good. Neither of them are very good. Do I think hero bans will ever come to comp? So my first answer to that, Artsy, would be no, but I think that potentially changes if Overwatch 2 isn't immediately successful out the gate. Blizzard is going to have to quickly try to make significant changes, do something. Maybe that's adding a sixth player back in. I doubt it. Maybe that's something else. If it's not immediately successful, they're going to have one or two like fast changes that they try to announce, try to make, etc. And hero bans would be an obvious type thing for them to try. So I would generally say no, but if things are going really poorly, that might be a quick, let's try something, anything. Unfortunately, that tends to be a corporate response to things in general of, well, we have to do something. This is something. Let's do it, even when that something isn't a very good idea. Oh, snap. Yeah, you're right. I didn't understand any of that. All good, Jimmy. All good. And again, to understand it, with Brig Zen, you're either looking to win a poke battle because, hey, you have Zen and Zen's very powerful for that, or you're looking to use Repair Packs and Harmony Orb and Discord Orb to help your flankers get control of the flank routes and then go, hey, with these, they dominate the flank routes hard, and now they have the hard backline dive. But again, your team's very unlikely to understand either of those things at a low level. Temporal, how far into the enemy's backline should Lucio be before using beat? And when should Lucio do things with the people who say they're on a team with you? I mean, if you use your beat to enable the Reddit style of Lucio play and you get eliminations because you used the beat, who am I to complain? An ult that gets an elimination, it's usually not that direct a trade, but an ult that gets an elimination is usually a pretty good ult in Overwatch. Just saying. Just saying. You guys know I don't really have an issue with Reddit Lucio. Like, Reddit Lucio is fine. It has its place. Generally not optimal to go full on Redditing and organized play, but Redditing teaches you a lot that you need to know to actually be able to play Lucio well, and there absolutely is a place for it in organized play. It's just more limited. Later, Artsy. Later. Tracer in a world with no stuns would be top hero on the ban list, probably. Okay, I'm actually going to go ahead and call it here as well. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, please do like and consider subscribing if you're not already. If you'd like to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks. Temporal out.